The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 113. Why would the sixth prince want De Bao's blood? The ancient era was not comparable to modern times. What could a few drops of blood do? In court intrigue novels, a drop of blood was sometimes used to test parentage. However, as a modern man, Liu was well aware that this kind of method wasn't that accurate. The sixth prince only managed to obtain some of De Bao's blood, but what exactly could he do with it? Jing Wang lightly tapped him on the forehead and told Liu a classified piece of information from the royal family. The imperial physicians inside the palace had their own secret method to verify if one had royal bloodlines through using a few drops of blood. Since the sixth prince wanted one of his subordinate to obtain De Bao's blood, Jing Wang knew that the sixth prince must be doubting De Bao's heritage. Jing Wang purposely let him obtain someone else's blood just so he would believe that his assumption was correct. Next, the sixth prince would definitely come up with a grand scheme to let the emperor know of this matter. The crime of lying about someone's royal bloodline was enough to make any emperor become hostile. In reverse, the crime of slandering another prince was also capable of remaining on record forever for the sixth prince. Liu and Jing Wang were both waiting for the sixth prince to act. Unexpectedly, the sixth prince retreated again. How worthy of his reputation as the most undercover villain. Although he suffered plenty by Jing Wang's hands and also made many mistakes, after calming down, he could still keep his composure and remain patient enough not to act until the most opportune moment. Liu hoped he endured so hard that he turned into a big tortoise. 2 months later, the once-a-year hunting festival was about to start. The hunting festival, as the name suggested, was actually a huge hunting activity held by the royal family in this ancient era. There was a common saying which said, "Monarchs that start a nation are good at fighting wars, monarchs that defend a nation are good at hunting." This was enough to see how important hunting was in a ruler's lifetime. As a still relatively brilliant ruler, the emperor was happy to follow tradition and conduct all sorts of hunting activities to show off his battle strength. The hunting festival was born from this. This was also a hunting competition. There was only one rule. Bloodline and political ranking didn't matter, only the hunting success would. The emperor would often bring a huge group of royal family members and all sorts of scholarly and military officials to participate in this intense contest over prey. The person in the lead would be able to obtain the emperor's praise and award. People of humble births who showed outstanding performances would also be promoted. The hunting festival was practically an instant shortcut for people to rise in ranks. Everyone knew that anyone who stood out from the crowd would enter the emperor's eyes. Even 7 to 8 years old children would gather their courage in these few days, pick up a bow and arrows and join the big group in the rush to the hunting ground. However, not everyone enjoyed the exercise. There were also irregulars who didn't want to participate. Jing Wang rarely hunted. During the previous hunting festivals, Jing Wang always remained in his estate without coming out. Often, Ye Huan would go in Jing Wang's place, just to perform the motion, that's all. Actually, Jing Wang's decision wasn't completely incomprehensible. He was a prince who had a disability after all. No matter how outstanding he was, it was pointless. People wouldn't think it was disrespectful for Jing Wang not to go, but rather that it was as expected and justified. The emperor also wouldn't say anything excessive. Although it said bloodlines and political ranking weren't considered in the hunting festival, the winner of every year was still the emperor. The position of second best would often belong to the second prince in previous years and the third prince every now and then. People really had no hope for this spot either. The placement that came after this was what people really fought for. However, this year, there was a huge change in the circumstances. The second prince was already insane. The third prince was disdained. The sixth prince had become a black horse, charging out of the masses and into the limelight. It seemed like the big decision was determined. However, the disfavored Jing Wang, who should have been eliminated from the list of potential rulers long ago, went to the west frontier and then came back, resulting in another change. As the only prince in this dynasty who had accomplishments and outstanding military services, as well as having the respectable and honorable position of son of the legitimate wife, along with 4 healthy little sons, Jing Wang's muteness no longer counted for much. Not to mention, Jing Wang's heir was highly favored in the eyes of the emperor. Every time he entered the imperial palace, he would immediately sit on the emperor's knees. All of these signs clearly indicated that Jing Wang was emerging as a new force to be reckoned with. Although this dynasty had a saying that princes weren't easily given the title of Wang, it was easy to tell by looking at the Marquis of Ping and the Marquis of An what it meant to really lose favor versus losing favor falsely. Jing Wang's position as Wang was probably special, as a sign of the emperor's favor. The smart people would naturally quietly pay attention to the result of this hunting festival. Once the result was settled, the position of crown prince was practically decided as well. Even the emperor was looking forward to it. However, Jing Wang, who rarely participated in the hunting festival, still expressed that he didn't wish to participate this time. He planned to stay in his palace and keep his wife and children company. The emperor would not stand for it this time. When the war reports from the west frontier reached the imperial capital, the emperor also read it earnestly. It was a fact that Jing Wang was capable of leading troops and even defeated the bandits. What's wrong with going on a hunt? With a dark face, the emperor ordered head steward Lu to issue an imperial edict. No matter what excuse Jing Wang had, he must participate in the hunt. He was not allowed to evade this responsibility. Jing Wang had no choice and could only take a trip to the hunting grounds together with Li Yu. Afraid that something unexpected would happen if they left the children behind in the estate, the couple discussed briefly and decided to bring the entire nest. After arriving at the hunting grounds, there would be imperial guards to watch over them. Jing Wang also prepared enough personnel to take care of the children. Moreover, the children still didn't really know how to walk. They shouldn't be running around randomly there. Now that the whereabouts of the children were decided, all that's left was some preparations. Hunting needed special outfits. Jing Wang made a set ahead of time for Li Yu, a riding outfit that was completely white and inlaid with gold on the sides. It was a prim and proper garment with narrow sleeves, looking very sharp and valiant. After putting it on, even Li Yu felt like he looked very handsome. With drool dripping out of mouth, Li Yu ardently insisted that Jing Wang needed a similar set. Wang and his princess consort definitely needed to wear matching couples' outfits on this kind of occasion. Under Li Yu's insistence, Jing Wang not only made a set for himself, he also made ones for the boys. On the day of the hunting festival, Jing Wang wore a black set of riding outfit that was the same style as Li Yu's and had a jasper green belt tied around his waist. Wearing a purple gold crown on his head, with handsome brows and sharp eyes, the tall and upright Jing Wang looked like he was a match made in heaven with Li Yu. The riding outfits that was made for the adults look high and mighty. When shrunk to a smaller size and placed on the 4 boys' body, it only made them look round and cute. Wearing a gold-colored, little riding outfit and tiny leather boots, De Bao's round chubby body pushed against the clothes until it was full and bulging. Every step he took, he swayed terribly, making Li Yu's heart race while he watched. Currently, De Bao could already walk staggeringly and even speak in short phrases at a time. Although slow, he was also very clear. The imperial physicians and the wet nurses all said that boys learn to speak slower. The little heir was already very impressive. Heir Bao and San Bao both wore a gold-silver mix and silver riding outfit individually. The two of them still couldn't walk. Neither could they speak as well as De Bao. De Bao started to shuffle along while holding onto a wall for support, while Heir Bao and San Bao rolled around the ground with 2 pair of shiny eyes and clung tightly onto De Bao's shoes, not letting go and insisting that De Bao brought the 2 of them along as well. De Bao didn't even show any hints of disdain towards these two. A kind of seriousness that was inconsistent with his age appeared on his face as he continued to lift his little short legs and try his best to march forward. However, he really couldn't move. Li Yu and Jing Wang both laughed. Si Bao, who was wearing a handsome, black little riding outfit with a silver lining and sitting in Fish Dad's arms, giggled non-stop. However, the extreme joy turned into sorrow. Li Yu blinked his eyes towards Si Bao and placed him on the ground. Si Bao, who always responded one beat slower, was the least impressive when the fish babies changed into their human form. In terms of walking, it was also the same. In comparison to De Bao's seriousness, Si Bao was extremely perfunctory. As soon as the soles of his feet touched the floor, he sat down directly on his butt and reached out his hands, saying ah and wanting Fish Dad to pick him back up again. Li Yu avoided the hands, definitely not planning to hold him again. Si Bao blinked a pair of eyes that were practically the same as Li Yu's and also imitated Air Bao and San Bao in clinging onto De Bao's leg. De Bao, who had gained another dangling little brother in the blink of an eye. Li Yu laughed uproariously. Wang Shi led the carriage over in the meantime. Jing Wang first picked up the children and put them on the carriage, leaving them for Wang Shi to take care of. After the children all got into the carriage without anyone being left behind, Jing Wang pulled his princess consort onto the horse in a rather good mood and held him between his arms. The horse followed next to the carriage and advanced slowly. Li Yu complained non-stop that sitting at the front was extremely childish. However, when the handsome horse started galloping, the one that yelled the loudest was also him. Arriving at the hunting ground, Jing Wang's entire family first headed off to the dragon tent to greet the emperor. The emperor was rather satisfied by Jing Wang's sense of tact and conversed quietly with Jing Wang for a bit. This was the first time Li Yu was participating in such a large-scale social event. In order to avoid making any mistakes, he stood well-behaved behind Jing Wang. The emperor also encouraged him a bit. At this time, the emperor still looked pretty wise and awe-inspiring. When he saw the chain of handsome-looking babies in their riding outfits by Li Yu's side, the emperor's expression suddenly changed. He couldn't hold back from laughing out loud. Is Xuěshān planning to hunt today as well? Transforming into a benevolent-looking grandfather, the emperor extended his long arms and scooped De Bao into his arms with a smile. Yeah, I want to hunt. De Bao said bright and crisp. After De Bao started to speak, Li Yu attempted to teach him how to say the proper title of Imperial Grandfather. However, the pronunciation of Imperial Grandfather was still somewhat difficult for a child. Using this as an excuse, the emperor allowed De Bao to continue calling him yeah. The emperor himself felt this was more intimate. The emperor was very happy to see that De Bao was already so hardworking and ambitious at such a young age. He actually gained the desire to personally teach De Bao how to shoot a bow. However, how could a child this young have the arm strength to pull back a bow? The emperor ordered Luo Ruisheng to bring over a slingshot and forcibly changed the activity of shooting a bow into shooting a slingshot. De Bao fiddled with the string with his young, tender paws, not knowing what to do. Running a hand through his long beard, the emperor was about to start playing with him together when he suddenly remembered that his son, Jing Wang, was still waiting. Without permission from the emperor, Jing Wang was not allowed to move by himself. You can go. If you can't obtain a rank in the result, then don't come back to see me. The emperor ordered in anticipation. Jing Wang nodded his head and then exchanged a glance with Li Yu. The emperor's imperial edict came abruptly, making them participate in the hunt. Li Yu didn't know how to ride a horse. Because of this, Jing Wang gave Li Yu a crash course. However, Li Yu still couldn't ride well. In this hunting competition, he probably won't make any achievements. Moreover, the children also came with them. One of them had to stay to watch them. They couldn't both go off hunting. They heard that the sixth prince had already arrived before them and had already started an hour ago and hunted plenty of things, ranking amongst the best at the moment. Tianqi, don't worry and go. Show him what you got. Valiant and spirited, Li Yu sent Jing Wang out of the tent and gave the hubby some encouragement and morale boost. Jing Wang nodded his head. Not caring if there were anyone around, he pulled Li Yu into his arms and rubbed him on the head. Li Yu took the opportunity to be lovey-dovey with him for a while and then returned to the tent in satisfaction. Sitting in a chair below the emperor, he listened to the guard's update, reporting that the sixth prince had hunted something again and then Jing Wang later on. At first, the sixth prince led by a wide margin. Later on, Jing Wang caught up and closed the distance. The first prey that Jing Wang had hunted was a white rabbit. It was still alive, only with a little bit of skin grazed off its foot. Looking at it with his mouth twitching non-stop, the emperor let Li Yu deal with it. The babies immediately started clapping their hands. Rabbit. Airbao and Sanbao said with smiles. Wabbit. Sibao held out his hands. Sibao was always one beat slower. This was a rather unusual, fairly clear pronunciation of the word for him. Surrounding the ball of snow white, the fish babies loved it a lot. Li Yu could practically see the scene of when the ducks first entered the estate. Jing Wang definitely did this on purpose. Bringing back this little cutie back, what could he do? Li Yu happily asked Wang Gonggong to wrap up the rabbit's leg. Looks like other than the pet fish and pet ducks inside the estate, there would be now the addition of a pet rabbit. The result of the hunt wouldn't come out for a while. The emperor was too lazy to listen to the updates and focused his attention on teaching De Bao how to play with the slingshot. The slingshot needed pellets. Pulling an empty string was no fun. However, normal pellets were usually made of iron or stone. It was too dangerous for children to play with it. The emperor often listened to Jing Wang praised Li Yu. Therefore, he ordered Li Yu to come up with a plan. Li Yu was actually pretty smart. He ripped some paper into pieces and rolled them into several balls. Hitting someone with this wouldn't hurt. With paper pellets, the emperor held De Bao's little young paws. The two people pulled the sling together and let it fly. A paper pellet flew out with a whoosh and lightly smacked into head steward Luo, who was currently making inquiries about the news updates. Luo Ruisheng turned his head around. The emperor and De Bao both put on innocent faces. Don't look at Zhen. Zhen didn't do it. Don't look at me. I didn't do it. Li Yu couldn't resist snickering secretly. With nothing of note going on with the emperor over here, he started to worry about Jing Wang's side. The guards came to report several times. The sixth prince still remained in the lead. Jing Wang looked like he was just about to catch up, but the distance pulled apart again. In front of the emperor, Li Yu couldn't look too anxious and worried. However, internally he was sweating for Jing Wang all this time. Unconsciously, he walked out to the front of the tent and started to search for Jing Wang's figure among the participants of the hunt. Soon after, he found him. Jing Wang rode on his horse, almost looking very tired. He lowered his head to swipe away sweat on his forehead. The back of his horse was hung full of animals he had hunted. Li Yu even felt somewhat distressed for him. Because of one sentence from the emperor, he had to desperately prove himself. Li Yu watched him from afar. Almost as if they were connected, Jing Wang suddenly turned his gaze towards Li Yu. With a brief smile, Jing Wang rode his horse and flew towards Li Yu. In a flash, he arrived right before him. Li Yu was immediately pulled onto the horse. Holding the reins of the horse with one hand and hugging Li Yu firmly with the other, Jing Wang covered his mouth with a kiss that allowed no refusal. A familiar heated aura instantly surrounded Li Yu, surprising him quite a bit. After recovering, Li Yu reflexively gave a push but didn't manage to push away. In the end, he simply returned the intimate kiss enthusiastically. After the kiss finished, Jing Wang nuzzled against his neck in satisfaction and then put him safely back onto the ground. As if possessed by the god of war, he picked up his whip full of energy and enthusiasm and charged back into the contesting hunting ground. Really? Was I some kind of energy recharger? Li Yu also felt refreshed and invigorated himself, and returned back to his seat secretly with a reddened face. The emperor was still playing with De Bao with the slingshot. Wang Shi was watching Air Bao, San Bao, and Si Bao play with the rabbit. No one should have noticed him. Li Yu just sat for a while when he heard the guards come to report. The total prey hunted by Jing Wang had already surpassed the sixth prince. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 114. At the end of the hunting competition, Jing Wang and the sixth prince returned at the same time. No matter how good the sixth prince was at pretending normally, after being surpassed by a mute, he was practically unable to maintain his normal amenable expression. Before, when the third prince was present, the sixth prince was at best only as the third prince's helping hand. In actuality, he was pretty good at hunting, yet didn't dare to stand out too much to avoid the third prince's suspicion. This time, he could finally fight with his best and make a name for himself, but he never imagined that Jing Wang would participate as well. Other people didn't know that the sixth prince was adept at horseback archery. The sixth prince also didn't know that Jing Wang was quite skilled as well. Jing Wang never participated in any of the previous hunting activities after all. In order to guarantee a top-ranking spot in the result, the sixth prince had arrived bright and early. When the drum signaled the start of the hunt, he was the first to charge out on his horse, not like Jing Wang, who brought his entire family and arrived at the hunting ground slowly and leisurely. The other people had started a while ago already by that time. The hunting festival didn't have any rules that required everyone to start at the same time. It only counted the total sum of hunted prey. In other words, even if someone arrived late, as long as they had the capabilities, they could still obtain a pretty good score. Of course, this was a very ideal logic that has never occurred before, because usually when someone was late, they'd lose a decisive time and also lose morale. Yet Jing Wang only started in the latter half of the hunt, but he still followed behind closely in the top scores. If the sixth prince relaxed even slightly, Jing Wang would catch up with him. The sixth prince already felt somewhat tired. Jing Wang's state was not much better than him. Because plenty of the game were already hunted, Jing Wang needed to use more effort to find new prey. His progress was clearly slowing down. The sixth prince felt that he shouldn't be able to catch up anymore. However, who knew what method Jing Wang used that in a flash, he transformed and became practically brimming with energy. Meanwhile, the sixth prince was so tired that he almost couldn't raise his bow hand anymore. Then, Jing Wang managed to hit targets consecutively. The sixth prince had no choice but to do his best. Nevertheless, at the last moment, Jing Wang, who seemed almost like he was aided by the gods, ended up having an even higher count than him. Yet he had started hunting an hour earlier than Jing Wang. For a moment, the sixth prince felt bitter and depressed. He thought he was good at horseback archery, but it didn't seem that impressive after all. Fifth elder brother, you really are a late arriving champion, here to steal all the credits. Before entering the tent, the sixth prince said this in an ambiguously sour tone. Jing Wang didn't even spare him a glance and walked in front of the emperor with large steps. He respectfully gave his greeting and reported the completion of his task. The emperor was extremely satisfied with this result. Sure enough, Jing Wang didn't disappoint him. After being pushed into the spotlight, he actually managed to surpass the sixth prince and only lost to a battle-experienced military general. At the same time, the emperor also realized that Jing Wang wasn't actually bad at hunting. The reason he didn't participate in the previous hunting festivals was probably to purposely hide his skills. The emperor was originally going to praise him some more, but now his mood was complicated. He only said coolly, "Go take a seat." Jing Wang cupped his hand and returned to Li Yu's side without any signs of arrogance or irritability. With a pair of red glossy lips, Li Yu looked at him, charming eyes soft like silk. The couple who just filled their energies still remembered the intense kiss just now. It was inconvenient to speak of such in front of the emperor, thus the two of them could only exchange gazes for the moment. With a smile, Jing Wang found Li Yu's hand under their sleeves and interlaced their fingers together. Sitting on the dragon chair and looking down from above, the emperor could see a little of the exchange between Jing Wang and his princess consort, feeling it was rather amusing and sickeningly sweet. The emperor turned to the other side and said to the sixth prince, "Tian Xiao also did pretty well, it was beyond Zhen's expectations." The emperor didn't lie here. The sixth prince's performance was remarkable, as if he was a completely different person from before. It's only unfortunate that he was unable to surpass Jing Wang. Correcting his sarcastic tone from just now, the sixth prince said humbly, "This imperial son is still very far from fifth elder brother. I will definitely try harder in the future." The emperor nodded and asked the sixth prince to sit. Next to the sixth prince was his own pregnant princess consort. Lady Liang's lower abdomen was a little obvious by this time. Recently, she had been suffering from morning sickness and was in low spirits. As soon as the sixth prince came to the hunting ground, he hurriedly handed her over to consort Zhang. He didn't even look back. Lady Liang wasn't feeling very well and was worried about her husband, so her complexion didn't look so good. Consort Zhang was not someone that could be considered considerate. After taking care of her daughter-in-law for a while, Lady Liang didn't seem to be getting well. Consort Zhang felt that Lady Liang was being unreasonable just because she was pregnant, so she didn't bother to pay attention to her for long. The sixth prince was exhausted and suffered from a stomach full of smothered anger. After returning, he then saw his wife's suffering face. Although the sixth prince didn't go as far as to take out his anger on Lady Liang, he also didn't offer any words of comfort either. Lady Liang's expression became even dimmer. Although the two people were next to each other, they didn't look even the slightest intimate at all. The emperor saw the sickening sweet atmosphere between Jing Wang and his princess consort, then saw the sixth prince and his wife. The emperor only felt that there was a world of difference between them. However, the emperor didn't actually want to get involved in his son's family businesses. He ordered people to bring up the meat acquired from the hunt. The imperial kitchen was in charge of roasting and cutting all of the animals that were hunted. Placed in numerous silver platters, they were brought up for the emperor to bestow them as rewards. There's also a custom in this. Normally the people participating in the hunting festival would always offer the first animal they hunted to the emperor as tribute. If the tribute was good, it could also help them gain the emperor's favor. In return, the emperor would reward them with a corresponding piece of roasted meat. The previously mentioned general offered a deer. The sixth prince offered an eagle. Although his ranking wasn't as good as Jing Wang's, when the eagle was carried up, it gave the sixth prince quite the honor. The emperor rewarded the general with roasted deer meat. He also awarded the sixth prince with roasted eagle meat. However, he didn't specifically give anything to Jing Wang. After listening to all of the rewards, Li Yu didn't hear his husband's name and started pondering what exactly did Jing Wang offer as tribute. Li Yu wanted to quietly ask Jing Wang when he suddenly remembered. The first animal that Jing Wang hunted seemed to have been a rabbit, the new pet of the Jing estate. This rabbit was originally given to the emperor. Then the emperor gave it to him to deal with. Li Yu. Other people had hunted deer and eagles, yet his hubby only offered a live rabbit as tribute. The bunny was so cute. Li Yu didn't think there was anything wrong with offering a rabbit. However, the emperor definitely didn't think too much of it. That's why he openly gave the commemorative tribute to Li Yu and his kids to raise as a pet bunny, isn't that right? Li Yu was internally bursting with joy. Head steward Luo brought over an entire roasted chicken for them. Because of Jing Wang's little thoughtful act, Li Yu picked up a huge piece of meat with his chopsticks and placed it in Jing Wang's bowl. Air Bao, San Bao, and Si Bao held up their chicken legs. Li Yu purposely didn't help them, wanting to see how they were going to eat it themselves. The boys each only had one tiny rice-sized baby tooth. Gnawing back and forth on the chicken leg for a while, they couldn't even bite off a tiny bit of meat. Meat, meat. Having good food but unable to eat it, the boys looked extremely panicked, almost like they were about to randomly start wailing. Liu pulled out an already prepared little knife, cut off the meat from the chicken leg for the children and placed them on a plate. Liu only managed to cut half of one when Jing Wang pulled the knife out of his hand and started cutting it himself. As expected of the Tyrant protagonist, who was even capable of flipping the hunting scores, he cut the meat much faster than Liu. Not long after, there was a full plate. The three boys opened their mouths wide in unison, wanting their father Jing Wang to feed them. Jing Wang picked up a piece with his chopsticks. He was just about to feed one of them when Liu said hastily, "Wait." Jing Wang paused slightly. With a reddened face, Liu also imitated his baby fishes and shamelessly opened his mouth wide. Jing Wang. Jing Wang seemed to understand. Seeing this big one and three small ones all blinking their eyes at him, like birds crying pitifully for food, Jing Wang couldn't help but laugh. Without a second thought, he fed Liu the piece of meat originally meant for the children. Liu chomped it noisily from his chopsticks and gave the three babies a smug glance. "Did you boys see? He likes me the most. Air bao. San bao. Si bao." Fish Dad stole away the delicious smelling meat. The boys scrunched up their faces, wanting to cry. Scared, Liu hastily picked up a piece of meat and stuffed it into Air Bao's mouth. The tears were still spinning in Air Bao's eyes. His chubby cheeks also quickly puffed up. San Bao and Si Bao saw that he had food to eat, but they didn't and became even sadder. Liu and Jing Wang originally planned to feed one of them each. Who would have known that while Air Bao ate the meat, he arrived at a ridiculous conclusion. He thought that this piece of meat was the one that Father Jing Wang had fed Fish Dad, which Fish Dad then fed to him. Then wasn't it his turn to feed San Bao next? Air Bao liked San Bao. Therefore, he very seriously nodded his head and pulled out half of the saliva-covered meat from his mouth and stuffed it into San Bao's mouth. Liu. When San Bao also split the halved, saliva-covered meat to feed Si Bao, Liu finally realized that the children might have misunderstood. He didn't know if he should laugh or cry. However, since the fish babies were willing to share, Fish Dad also felt very relieved. The babies' loving exchange wasn't actually complete. As Si Bao ate the meat, he remembered De Bao and started to call out "Ah ah" while swinging his finger and pointing at De Bao. De Bao was still sitting on the emperor's knees. When Si Bao called, the emperor also saw him and kindly waved his hand at Si Bao. To the side, Wang Shi took a step forth and carried Si Bao over. Si Bao and De Bao met up with each other on the emperor's knees. Si Bao called out "Ah ah" and then stuffed the already scarcely remaining meat all into De Bao's mouth. De Bao. De Bao slowly understood as well. However, the Air Bao's already found a brother to feed. Who can De Bao feed? De Bao's eyes light up. The emperor was originally watching the scene with suppressed laughter. Unexpectedly, De Bao turned around and placed the last bit of meat into the emperor's hand. Yeah, eat. De Bao generously patted the emperor's hand. Ever since the emperor became the sole ruler of the nation, he has bestowed plenty of meat to other people. This was the first time someone had rewarded him with meat in return. Although this meat was passed around, all covered in the children's saliva and definitely inedible, the kind intention held within it made the emperor feel touched. Jing Wang's children were all good boys. In a moment of happiness, the emperor rewarded each of the kids with huge platters of barbecue individually. Plenty of people at the scene were smart and astute. The emperor looked like he was favoring Jing Wang's sons right now. These people also followed along and praised the little clever boys. They pretty much forgot that the sixth prince was present as well. Meanwhile, Mu Tianxiao only buried his head and ate his own food with a tranquil expression. At night, Liu and Jing Wang entered a tent that the emperor had appointed to Jing Wang. Wang Shi brought the four babies to sleep next door, separated from Jing Wang and Liu by a flap. Because they were outside, it wasn't convenient to speak too much. Li Yu did his best to converse about trivial things with Jing Wang. He and Jing Wang understood each other very well. Sometimes even without speaking, an eye gesture was enough to understand the other's meaning. The couple finished washing up quickly and crossed gazes. Not knowing who started first, they started kissing each other's lips. Mouth and teeth engaged in a battle for a while. Jing Wang picked Li Yu up and laid down with him, letting Li Yu rest on his chest. Stroke by stroke, he lightly caressed Li Yu's back. Both of them felt like the sixth prince was extremely likely to act within these few days at the hunting festival. Jing Wang had already gotten prepared. However, because of this, the couple couldn't be too intimate together. Li Yu laid on Jing Wang's chest, drowsy with sleep. After some times, he did fell asleep. A light sound came from outside. Someone shouted loudly, "There's an assassin." Li Yu immediately opened his eyes and sat up. He and Jing Wang were both wearing regular clothes under the blankets. This was just what they were waiting for. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 115. Jing Wang opened the inner flap of the tent. Wang Shi was standing vigil throughout the night and had not slept yet. Seeing the situation, he hastily said, "Your Highness, please be calm. This old servant will head outside to take a look." Jing Wang nodded his head, indicating for Wang Shi to be careful. Wang Shi left the tent in a hurry. Jing Wang lowered his gaze and looked briefly at the children. Despite moving them to a different location, the children weren't affected. The children were sleeping so soundly that their faces were flushed red. Jing Wang carried the four boys to where Li Yu was and wrapped a blanket around the bed full of fish. Jing Wang pulled out his own long sword from its sheath and silently guarded next to the bed. Li Yu was a bit nervous and encouraged himself continuously. Although he didn't know what the sixth prince planned to do exactly, it shouldn't cause any big waves. He and Jing Wang were both waiting for Wang Shi's news. Not long later, Wang Shi returned in a hurry, panting for breath. In a hushed voice, he said, "Your Highness, you won't believe this." When the guards were patrolling outside, they discovered that a man had infiltrated into concubine Lu's tent. The guards originally believed he was an assassin and captured the person. Who knew? Who knew that this person was actually an old friend of concubine Lu? Li Yu, huh? Jing Wang. The implication of Wang Shi's words was rather deep but also rather mysterious. Concubine Lu was the birth mother of the emperor's youngest son, the eighth prince. This time, she was also on the list of the emperor's entourage. Why would a concubine like this, who had no woes or worries in her future, suddenly have an old friend appear right under the emperor's eyes? Not to mention that several concubines that came with the emperor to the hunting ground were all resting in their individual tents during the night. However, the tents were pretty much gathered together. Concubine Lu's tent was one of the innermost. The inner layer was guarded by eunuchs and palace servants in shifts, while the outer layer was guarded by several teams of imperial guards. Even extremely talented martial artists would have a hard time infiltrating inside, yet this old friend managed to do it, and he did it without anyone noticing. This was rather suspicious. Just what kind of old friend was this that he had to run over during the hunting festival and secretly enter someone's tent in the middle of the night? Li Yu thought of a dog-blooded possibility, thinking, it can't be. Was this so-called acquaintance actually concubine Lu's old lover? The two people were rendezvousing in the middle of the night. Meanwhile, this person was able to enter successfully because concubine Lu had done some arrangements. Otherwise, how else could one explain why there were all these guards yet they didn't discover anything until later on? In the ancient times, it was extremely prohibited for unrelated man and woman to stay together. If the emperor's concubine was discovered to have shared a room with a strange man, she would either be ordered to commit suicide or be sent to the cold palace. Not to mention, concubine Lu and this man were old friends. Didn't this practically saying that concubine Lu was having an affair and making the emperor wear a green hat? When he heard the alarm saying that there's an assassin from outside, Li Yu really believed that an assassin had appeared and that the assassin was sent by the sixth prince, or somehow connected to the sixth prince. However, this was actually concubine Lu cheating on the emperor. Wang Shi had really saved the emperor's reputation by saying it was an old friend, instead of directly saying that it was an affair. He also didn't mention any specifics about the situation that occurred. This made Li Yu react a beat slower, just like Sibao. So it wasn't catching an assassin but rather catching a couple in the act. This plot didn't actually happen in the novel. This was a commonly used plot point in palace intrigue novels. However, Li Yu couldn't figure out if concubine Lu's affair was real or if she was being framed. However, no matter if it's true or not, the man was ultimately found in concubine Lu's tent. The emperor must be very angry. Tianqi, do you want to go take a look? Li Yu thought with uncertainty. Jing Wang slowly shook his head. In this kind of situation, the emperor definitely wanted as few people at the scene as possible. He was a prince. If he rushed over at this time, it wouldn't actually comfort the emperor. Instead, it would make the emperor feel humiliated. But at the same time, it wasn't too suitable for Jing Wang to not to go and offer some words of concern. What should they do? I got. Li Yu's gaze fell on De Bao. De Bao was sleeping soundly and dreaming of fish food and big chicken legs. Suddenly, he felt something caressing his face. De Bao opened his eyes and found that Daddy was smiling at him. De Bao rubbed his eyes and sat up. Li Yu smiled and said, De Bao, I'm sorry Daddy woke you up but something urgent happened. Can you help Daddy with something? De Bao was the oldest brother. He needed to protect his little brother and also needed to protect Daddy. He said quickly, all right. Li Yu crossed gazes with Jing Wang, picked up De Bao and headed towards the emperor's dragon tent together. Head steward Luo was anxiously pacing around outside the tent. Because of concubine Lu, the emperor threw a huge temper, not willing to even drink a sip of water for quite some time and refusing to see any imperial physicians. Seeing the Jing couple came over with the little heir, head steward Luo's eyes lit up. He hastily went inside to send word. Li Yu and Jing Wang stood waiting outside. Soon, the sixth prince also came. After a short while, head steward Luo told Jing Wang and his family to enter but didn't say anything about the sixth prince. Li Yu and Jing Wang entered the dragon tent. The exciting and clamorous tent during the day had changed to look completely empty. There were things all over the ground. It was possible to see pieces of broken teacups and such related items every few steps. The emperor sat on the dragon throne by himself, looking decrepit, as if he had gotten several years older since his last appearance during the day. Concubine Lu had already been interrogated by the emperor himself and locked up in solitary confinement. For a strange man to appear in the young concubine Lu's tent, this was a serious blow to the emperor. The emperor's mood wasn't very good and said unpleasantly, "What are you here for?" Just now, a group of concubines were all dragged out. Was Jing Wang here to enjoy the commotion as well? Li Yu answered for Jing Wang, "Imperial father-in-law, Kair started missing you in the middle of the night and insisted on coming over to see you. This son can only bring him to request an audience with you." De Bao was warned by Li Yu beforehand and knew that grandfather emperor was in a terrible mood. He immediately extended his little chubby hands towards grandpa. The emperor felt extremely complicated inside. However, because of his doting love for De Bao, he still let Luo Ruisheng carry De Bao over. De Bao held open his arms the entire time. When he came before the emperor, he immediately hugged the emperor around the waist and even patted him lightly. Yeah, hugs," De Bao said in a soft, sweet voice. The emperor suddenly felt an impulse to cry. Li Yu and Jing Wang both nervously observed the emperor, afraid that in his fit of anger, De Bao would make the emperor even more displeased. However, This was also the only method to persuade the emperor to take care of his own health. You can all go. Just leave Kair behind. The emperor waved his hand, not wishing to have his son see him in his downcast mood. Jing Wang and Li Yu exchanged a look and moved out of the tent with head steward Luo. Not long afterwards, a call for tea and pastries came from inside, along with De Bao's giggling laughter. Jing Wang, Li Yu, and head steward Luo all felt more relieved. The next day, the emperor was full of energy. Although something unpleasant had happened, in the end, it was only something involving the harem. Overnight, the emperor had already sent concubine Lu back to the imperial palace. He didn't plan to behave too concerned in front of the officials and nobility. The hunting festival continued as usual. However, the second round of the hunting competition didn't even start yet when Prince Li of the first rank, who was the head of the imperial family estate, arrived as quickly as possible on a swift horse, requesting to see the emperor and saying there was something he needed to discuss with the emperor. The emperor took a glance at the flags fluttering away on the hunting grounds and had a feeling that the hunting festival might be ending here. So apparently, Prince Li also learned of the matter regarding concubine Lu yesterday night and specifically came to probe the emperor's intentions. Concubine Lu was the 8th prince's birth mother. Having a mother who did such a thing, how was the 8th prince supposed to stand firm in the future? Furthermore, it was rumored that concubine Lu knew this man before she had entered the imperial palace. That's why they were called old friends. As for if they had any contact after she had entered the imperial palace, the two people were already found in the same room together. The 8th prince's matter of birth might be in question. Prince Li did his best to persuade the emperor, "Your Majesty, the blood of the royal family cannot put under question. Please make a decision here." Prince Li didn't just come by himself, he brought 2 elderly imperial physicians. As the emperor's younger brother and the head of the imperial family estate, Prince Li was responsible over all royal family-related matters. He was clearly asking the emperor for permission to verify the 8th prince's bloodline here. Although the royal family had a secret method, it was classified. It was only used when there was suspicion over a royal family member's identity and with the permission of the emperor. This careful cautiousness was also for the purpose of guarding the secret to avoid it from being exploited by others. The emperor hesitated for a moment. Ultimately, concubine Lu had made him doubt. If Prince Li didn't find his way here, it was likely that the emperor would have gone in search of him instead after he returned to the palace. Since it was already like this, why not allow it? If it dragged on too long, the 8th prince himself might start doubting as well. The emperor was just about to allow it when Prince Li knelt down and pulled out a secret report from his sleeve. "Your Majesty, to be quite honest, this brother also has another important issue to report. The night before my arrival, this report mysteriously appeared on the table of my study. I originally didn't believe it, but after hearing of what had occurred at the hunting festival, I feel like this can be questioned." Prince Li sent up the report. The emperor opened it and swiftly skimmed through it. This was actually a letter written to Prince Li to inform him of a secret. The letter revealed 2 things to Prince Li. The first was that concubine Lu was involved with someone. The second was that Jing Wang's sons weren't actually his. The letter wrote about the person that concubine Lu was involved in, his name and place of registry. It also wrote about all sorts of suspicions regarding Jing Wang's sons. As the head of the imperial family estate, Prince Li would receive if not 1,000, then at least 800, complaints every day. They all contained various baseless accusations of similar nature. If he believed all of them casually, then he'd be dealing with this all day long. Originally, he only treated it with disdain. However, when concubine Lu was caught on the spot rendezvousing with someone on the hunting grounds, Prince Li spent a little effort to inquire the identity of the man. After learning it, even a part of his heart turned cold. The things related to concubine Lu were mostly true, then what about Jing Wang? Recalling the many favors that the emperor had bestowed upon Jing Wang's heir recently, Prince Li could almost smell the emperor's anticipation towards Jing Wang. However, if this were really the case, then how could Prince Li sit still? He hastily rushed over. It was for the 8th prince but also for the emperor. Your Majesty, what should be done here? Prince Li felt like he'd rather mistakenly kill an innocent man than mistakenly let a guilty man go free. They were going to test anyway, testing 2 people won't make much difference. They might as well examine Jing Wang's sons as well. According to the words in the letter, Jing Wang gained these 4 sons while he was at the west frontier. Everyone said that naturally born muteness could be passed down to the offspring. None of Jing Wang's sons had it. This by itself was already extremely unusual. No need to mention others. Just this one area of suspicion made Prince Li feel like he agreed deeply with the words in the letter. The emperor's face color gradually grew worse. Prince Li was afraid the emperor would suddenly get angry with him. However, even after the emperor finished reading the letter, he didn't do anything in response. I am aware of this now. You can go for the time being and don't mention this to anyone, the emperor said. Prince Li exited, heart pounding with trepidation. Then he finally remembered that the emperor still didn't say what he wanted to do with the 8th prince. The emperor repeatedly read the letter several times and thought about De Bao, who was devoted wholeheartedly to him. He already had an idea in mind and ordered Luo Ruisheng to summon Jing Wang into the dragon tent swiftly. Tianqi, you have to be careful. Li Yu looked all around and secretly wrote a 6 on Jing Wang's palm. From concubine Lu's accident to the speedy appearance of Prince Li, Li Yu felt like all of this was somehow related to the 6th prince. Jing Wang understood and wanted Li Yu to wait for him calmly. He also had this feeling. Prince Li was the head of the Imperial family estate. For him to arrive speedily on a fast horse, it must be important business. He had a brief encounter with Prince Li before entering the dragon tent. When Prince Li saw him, he evaded looking him in the eyes. Jing Wang could pretty much determine from this that Prince Li's urgent business was related to him. As soon as he entered the tent, a report was immediately thrown at him, aimed directly at his head. Jing Wang was on his guard. In reality, the report wasn't able to hit him anyways. It flew until it was half an inch away from him and then landed on the floor. Jing Wang could feel the emperor's explosive fury. He picked up the report to give it a look. Only one glance was enough for him to know the 6th prince's plan. So, concubine Lu was actually the bait. Trying to shift the emperor's suspicions onto the children was the true motive. Because the 6th prince already didn't have many trusted subordinates, it actually made it harder for Jing Wang to send people to get close and monitor him. The 6th prince was crafty and had always only trusted himself instead of others. Therefore, it was impossible to find out the 6th prince's exact plans. However, since Prince Li had gathered the imperial physicians overnight and rushed over, they should be getting ready to do some blood test. If the matter with concubine Lu didn't exist, the emperor might not believe the words in the letter. However, now that concubine Lu's betrayal came first, the emperor should be more sensitive to this kind of thing. If possible, he would probably test all of the children. That's the point of the report. Jing Wang was just waiting for the emperor to say this. However, the emperor said with extreme dissatisfaction, Tianqi, someone wants to harm Kai. Do you have an idea who it is? Jing Wang was shocked for a brief moment. Surprisingly, the emperor didn't actually get swayed by the letter's instigations. Instead, he planned to support De Bao. End chapter.